There's a lot of pressure on him here today.
Yeah, and he's admitted to us that sometimes he tries to be way too perfect. I spoke with his tight end, Kyle Rudolph, about his demeanor this week. He says he's fine, but Kyle's saying if there's pressure on anyone, it's on our entire offense. So Cousins doesn't feel today he needs to go out there and win this whole thing himself. Rudolph said that was the case in Washington, D.C. That's not the case here in Minnesota. Kyle Rudolph telling Kirk Cousins this week, you earned your money, you got paid, now go out and play some football.
Well, these fans are revved up as Brad Johnson makes an appearance here, longtime Viking. And with the Skol chant happening a moment ago, these fans want to see a win against a divisional rival, the Chicago Bears, and it could very well be a rematch next week at Soldier Field during the wild card round of the playoffs. Glad you're with us today on Fox. Said this coming in, but worth another look, especially at the bottom there. The Vikings, they clinch a playoff berth with a win or with a Philadelphia loss. The Eagles are at Washington and playing while this game is happening. The Bears clinch a first-round bye with a win and a Rams loss. Bears won the toss, they defer, so the Vikings receive the opening kickoff, and off we go to the 25-yard line. And here is the 30-year-old, 7-year NFL vet, Kirk Cousins, first year of a 3-year deal he signed with the Vikings, and there is not a very good record in his career against teams with winning records.
Well, it can't be overstated, Joe. We just mentioned it, and like I said, it's been talked about each and every week, but this is why Kirk Cousins is here, and this is essentially a playoff game.
Starts his day with a completion to Stephon Diggs, ridden out of bounds by the Pro Bowl corner Kyle Fuller, and a gain of 3. It's an offense that comes in ranked 17th overall. There's their offensive line. The backs and receivers about as good as it gets on the outside with Thielen and Diggs. Cousins out to his right. 3rd down and 7 coming up. Pressure by Leonard Floyd, who's been getting better and better on this terrific Chicago Bears defense as the second half of the season has worn on. Number 4 overall, the linebacker level is outstanding. The secondary, they are opportunistic. They're number 1 in takeaways. They're number 1 in interceptions. They've got 5 pick sixes, 6 defensive touchdowns, 46 sacks, the 5th most in the NFL. On 3rd down and 7. Pass is high and incomplete for Diggs. Diggs gets hit by Deion Bush. It's 3 and out, and 3rd down over the last 4 games has been a problem for this Vikings offense.
It sure has. They're converting just 29% over the last 4 games. The Chicago Bears defense has been good on 3rd down throughout the season. How about the Vikings, however, starting this game? We talked about how difficult it might be to run the football against the Bears. Come out with 3 straight passes. Cousins showing his nerves there on 3rd down. He had an open man that could have picked up the first.
Weil hits it, kind of a knuckler, and another Pro Bowler, Tariq Cohen, with a fair catch inside his own 30 to the 29. What do you see from this 2nd-year pro, Mitch Trubisky?
Well, I see a guy that is in his 2nd season, quite honestly, Joe, and a new play caller, a new head coach, certainly, and Matt Nagy, and I think that relationship is going to be great over time, but a lot of inconsistencies. And what he has to understand, Mitch Trubisky, is that he's got a great defense playing behind him, and know that and be a little more cautious with the football. At times, he tends to be a little reckless.
Bears start their day with a run by Jordan Howard, and a good start on 1st down against this Vikings defense, which is number 11 against the run, a carry of 7 yards. They come in 21st overall. Trubisky missed a couple of games with a shoulder injury he suffered the first time these 2 teams met in Chicago. Tariq Cohen is a shifty guy and a Pro Bowler for what he does on special teams.
Yeah, this is Trubisky's 4th game back since that injury, Joe. The first game against the Rams, he struggled. He threw interceptions in that game, had a tough night. But the last 2 games, he has settled in. He's played actually pretty good football.
Here's Howard again. He's got the first down and plenty more. Harrison Smith trying to slow him down. Out of bounds inside the 25. 2 runs by Jordan Howard. The last one for 42 yards.
Well, Anthony Harris, number 41, that's his gap, and he has to hit it. Instead, he's a little slow reacting to it. You see Howard, he's able to hit the hole, and there's just nobody out there at that time. That's a great start to come up with a big play.
There's Kyle Long, who is back. He was hurt at the end of October against the Jets. He's an emotional leader for this team, not just on the offensive line, and he is back and starting at right guard. A big addition. Here is a toss and a nice pickup by Anthony Miller, the rookie. He's got 7 receiving touchdowns on the season. He carries for 8, and this has been big chunks of yardage against the number 3 defense here, the Vikings, right out of the chute.
Well, when you look at the last time these 2 teams met, the Bears ran for 148 yards in that game. However, they had 39 rushing attempts, so they were averaging less than 4 yards a carry. You would not expect them to come in here into this game and run the football that effectively, but the Vikings have given up some big runs coming into this game, and of course they gave up another one here on this opening possession.
On 2nd down and 2, another toss to Miller. Well played this time, and the guy who blew up the play was Everson Griffin. So 3rd down and short coming up, and now the focus goes to the rookie wide receiver Anthony Miller, who can't get up.
Yeah, that's not good at all for Chicago. This young guy has got some real talent and a real weapon. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's hard to tell as the ball comes loose, but he is still on the ground.
It happened there as he stumbled. They're already playing without Allen Robinson, their big play threat on the outside, and they're going to take Anthony Miller straight into the dressing room with that left shoulder hanging.
Wow, this is a guy who leads the team in touchdown receptions. He only has 33 receptions on the season, but what a dynamic player he is. I'm going to check him out. That does not look good, the way that left shoulder's hanging.
4 plays for Chicago, all runs to start their day. They're at the 15 and faced with 3rd and 3. Trubisky hangs in, finds his man, has a first down as the pass is caught by Trey Burton. And the first-year Chicago Bear, who is having a career season statistically, the former Philadelphia Eagle, gets 9.
Really good player. When he had his opportunities for the Philadelphia Eagles, he always seemed to show up and play well. And when you have Zach Ertz on your team, you're just not going to get a lot of opportunities. He gets to come here to Chicago and show that he can be an every down guy, and he really has. He can run. He sits down in the hole and gives Trubisky a nice place to go with the football. Great protection on that 3rd down for Trubisky in the pocket.
Last time Trey Burton played a game in this stadium, he and his Eagles teammates won Super Bowl 52. Play clock at 0. Nagy is arguing on the sideline.
Prior to the play clock expiring, we have a timeout, Chicago.
And Chicago is granted the timeout. So Trey Burton didn't just win the Super Bowl with Philadelphia in this stadium last February. He was the guy who threw the pass on the Phillies special to Nick Foles, who is playing right now for the Eagles, trying to beat Washington to give Philadelphia a chance to get back into the playoffs. And that would only happen if Chicago wins here and Philly wins in Landover, Maryland.
Well, you talk about that Philly special, and obviously that was a great night for Trey Burton and the Philadelphia Eagles. But to fall back on what I was talking about just moments ago, for him to get the opportunity to be the guy here in Chicago, and in addition to that, he got a chance to prove that he's more than just Philly special, you know. And as big a play as that was in his career, he's had a nice season. It was a good addition by Ryan Pace, the general manager, bringing him in.
First down and goal. Howard carries it into the end zone. What a start for Chicago. And while the Bears fans celebrate here, those that are in attendance in Minneapolis, let's make sure he got in and the knees stayed up, and he did, and they did. That's good news, at least for the moment, for the Philadelphia Eagles, who right now are on the outside of the playoff picture looking in.
Yeah, how about that drive? That's pretty good stuff. You get the 42-yard run by Jordan Howard. Trubisky, he converts on third down. Everything else was on the ground, and they take it right down the field.
Parkey just able to knock it through. Bears season-long 42-yard run by Jordan Howard set it up. An injury on that drive, but 7 points for Howard and the Bears with an early lead. Back, and a 6-play drive covering 71 yards, and of the 71 yards, 62, Troy, were picked up on the ground, and Jordan Howard with that season-long 42-yard carry for the Chicago Bears, the biggest play that set it up. Parkey kicks it away, and out to the 25 it will come.
You can see that touchdown run, and you've got left tackle Charles Leno and then Adam Shaheen, and Everson Griffin is the defensive end for the Vikings, and the movement that they get, you see the push right there. And then Holton Hill, he has to try to fill that edge. Here's another look at the block, the tag team by those two guys, and then you're asking Holton Hill to try to fill the gap and make a play. So just an excellent job up front, really, on that entire drive.
3 and out, first time the Vikings had it. They run it here, and it's Dalvin Cook over the left side, picking up 4, brought down by Leonard Floyd. Here's Carissa Thompson with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. So the Rams clinch a first-round bye with a win. This helps. Goff finds Brandon Cooks from 3 yards out. Rams up early, 7-0. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Paying close attention to that game will be the Chicago Bears. They only get a chance to move up if the LA Rams lose at home to San Francisco. Second down and 6. They go back to Cook, right side. Third down coming up. Remember, Troy, what happened last week at Detroit. The Vikings started their game with 4 3-and-outs for a total of 5 yards. They fell down 9-0. Ended up roaring back for a 27-9 win, but they're faced here with a 3rd down and 3, and a look at the interim offensive coordinator, his 3rd game in the position for Kevin Stefanski.
Well, and the fact that the defense was able to play so well and keep that score down when the offense struggled essentially throughout the first half is why Stefanski was able to stick with the run. They're down 7 now. We'll see how patient he is running the football if they don't get some first downs.
Cousins is sacked. It's Eddie Goldman getting through, sack number 3. And if there's one guy that Vic Fangio says doesn't get enough credit, it's Eddie Goldman for the year he's had.
Well, he's right in the middle, and he works through the guard, Tom Compton, and you're right. Goldman is regarded really as primarily a run stuffer in this 3-4 scheme that Vic Fangio likes to employ, but when they're in their nickel personnel, they still keep Goldman on the field at times, and he's able to get a push like he just did.
So it's 2 straight 3-and-outs. And a good punt from Weil. It's muffed, and a fight for the ball. Cohen able to get back on top of it. Tariq Cohen muffed it, but then was able to find it. Bears have it, leading by 7. Bears have it for the second time. All but 9 yards of their opening possession came on the ground. They have Kyle Long back, the 3-time Pro Bowler. Been battling injuries the last 3 years, but back at the right time for Chicago. And like his brother Chris, his older brother, who spent 8 years in St. Louis with the Rams and never got to the postseason. Kyle's never been there. He'll be there next week. Here's Cohen. Nothing. Let's go down to Aaron Andrews. Any news on Anthony Miller?
Yeah, he is questionable to return, Joe, with a shoulder injury. We saw that left shoulder hanging there. Now, this is the same shoulder he dislocated in September. He didn't need surgery on it, missed some time. So he was wearing that brace because of that previous injury. Re-injured it again. We'll see what this means for the Bears.
And for Matt Nagy, the head coach, he said, I've never really been in this type position where, you know, come halftime, this game might not matter at all, and you just have to be healthy going into the playoffs. And by the way, the Rams are up 14-0 in their game. Trubisky fires, pass is caught. That's Wims, and Wims good for a 4-yard gain, so it's 3rd down. And again, if the Rams get into a blowout as they're hosting San Francisco, Matt Nagy will start to have players trickle out of this game as a couple of face masks get hooked up on that last second down throw. Now 3rd down and 6.
Rams keep doing what they're doing in this first half against the 49ers. Nagy might be resting players before this half even ends.
No doubt, and it would be good news for the Vikings. Here's one incomplete for the tight end Burton. And this time it's 3 and out. So with everybody scoreboard watching, and Matt Nagy admitted that he would be doing just that, the Bears lead by 7. And they'll punt it back to the Vikings.
Well, they're scrolling the scores from around the league here at the stadium. A lot of times you get into week 17 and teams will not show a lot of those scores, but it's not hard for anyone in the stadium to find out what's happening around the league.
O'Donnell hits it, line drive. Zylstra on the return. Broke one tackle, now another, but covered up at the 25. 46-yard punt, 4-yard return. Irving with the tackle. Vikings will have it for the 3rd time, looking for their first down. At the great Bud Grant, 91 years old. Here in 2018, almost 2019. Still very active and beloved for all the success he had with the Minnesota Vikings, 4 times to the Super Bowl. It's 1st down and 10. From the 25, it's Cook, and he runs right into the Pro Bowler, Akeem Hicks. How about that play? That was man on man. That was like the Oklahoma drill back in high school, and Hicks won that battle.
Oh, you're not kidding. He's right here. He goes right through Mike Remmers. This is great play. This is what he's been doing all season long. He's had a career year. He's been a good player for a while, but he's gotten noticed this year, like you said, Joe, and he's going to the Pro Bowl. And between he and Khalil Mack, they have made life really difficult for a lot of these running backs this season.
So 2nd down and 10. Pass is caught, but a short gain. Kyle Rudolph coming off his best game of the year. Kyle Fuller on the stop, so a 3rd down and 5, and the Vikings have got to get something churning here offensively. See if Cousins and Minnesota can figure out a way on 3rd and 5.
Yeah, they're 0 for 2 here in the early going. Had an incompletion by Cousins, an overthrow where he had a man, and then the last time he was sacked.
Cousins throws, pass is caught, but short of a 1st down by Stephon Diggs. And that is 3 3 and outs to start the day.
That was good pressure with a 4-man rush. Khalil Mack, he's at the bottom. He's going to come around that edge, and you see the pressure then off the left side, and Cousins is feeling that then in his face. And even if he had gotten the ball completed, they were not going to pick up that first down. So the Bears give you a lot of different looks defensively within the coverages, and right now Cousins having a hard time figuring them out.
Good punt, best of the game by Weil, and a fair catch all the way back inside the 15. Little pressure on number 8. So far, not so good. 7-0 Chicago. They have the ball. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Take a look at those other scores. Philly and Washington, 0-0. Redskins have been ravaged by injuries. Philadelphia, another start for Nick Foles, the Super Bowl 52 MVP in this stadium. And then the Rams leading over another team that's banged up. No Matt Breida for the 49ers today. No Dante Pettis. They lead 14-0. And if the Rams win, Chicago stays the number 3 seed. Here's Howard. He carries for 3. That's one side of the ledger. The other side is the Vikings just have to win. And if they don't, Philadelphia with a win over Washington, they get in, and then they could be looking at a visit to Soldier Field.
Well, the Vikings have everything teed up for them. It's been an up and down year, as all Vikings fans know, and to find themselves here in Week 17 playing at home against a division rival and win and you're in type situation, I don't know that they could have asked for a whole lot more considering how the season had gone.
Here's Howard, well played. Right off the edge, the safety Anthony Harris made that play, a gain of 1. Here's Kurt with a game break.
Well, you mentioned the Rams up 14-0. Here's how it happened. C.J. Anderson, a little 1-yard touchdown run. Niners have turned it over on each of their first 2 possessions, and the Rams have turned both into touchdowns. You know the status here. A win, and they're the number 2 seeds. Joe, Troy, Eric.
Yeah, and Kurt, C.J. coming off a 167 rushing yard day in his debut against Arizona a week ago. 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, on that 2nd down, Joe, they went with an extra offensive lineman at fullback, Soul, and Anthony Barr had to come in there and take him on at 312 pounds.
Trubisky to the sideline. Pass is caught. And a first down, Kevin White. Says, don't forget about me. The 7th overall pick in 2015. He's been injured. He makes this play, loses his helmet, and gains 22.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of these, has there? He's missed 7 of the last 8 games, and he gets a chance because of Allen Robinson being down to get some playing time here this afternoon. That was a well-run route. He came into the league, and Ryan Pace is the general manager. His first pick as general manager, and a guy who could run. His measurables were off the charts, and he just simply has had a hard time staying healthy for a good part of his career. But that looked nice right there. He went up and made a nice play, bringing that one in.
That is just his 25th catch in 4 years after being the number 7 overall pick. After a huge last year at West Virginia, 109 catches and over 1,400 yards. On first down, here's Cohen. Nothing there, and a flag on top of it. Actually 2 now. A loss of 1.
Holding. Offense. Number 87. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
And that's the 2nd tight end, Adam Shaheen, guilty of a hold.
You're going to see him, number 87, right there in the middle, and as it gets stretched out, looks like he's got a hold of Danielle Hunter. A couple different flags came in. We saw the nice block that Shaheen had made down on the goal line, and this guy came into college as a basketball player. He can run. He's got great size. They've really missed him early in the year. He was on IR. He's come back. He's started to find himself to have a role at a good time coming into the postseason. One of the reasons that they've had a little more success running the football the last few weeks.
First down and 20, and the pass is caught by Taylor Gabriel. His first grab. We first saw him with Cleveland. He's been with the Atlanta Falcons, and he has career highs in receptions, receiving yards, and he really fits nicely into this Matt Nagy offense.
Yeah, he sure does. And when we were talking with Kyle Shanahan back when Shanahan was with the Falcons, when Gabriel was coming out of college and Shanahan was with the Cleveland Browns, like you said, he was an undrafted guy. And just told him, hey, if you come to Cleveland and sign with us, I promise you, you will make the team. He signed with Cleveland, he made the team, and he's done a nice job everywhere he's been.
Catch number 64 on the year. Trubisky throws. Pass is caught. Short gain by Bellamy. As the play was made by Holton Hill, the rookie who's playing for the injured Xavier Rhodes. Rhodes left in last week's game at Detroit in the fourth quarter with a groin injury. He is not active today.
And I know Mike Zimmer hated not having him up, your best corner in such an impactful game, but it has been a tough year on Xavier Rhodes with a number of different injuries, and they need him, assuming they can get in. They need him healthy in the postseason.
Third down and 10. Blitz. Pass caught. Gabriel has to make a move. What an effort, and Gabriel won't get it. A yard short. Eric Wilson made the stop. Taylor Gabriel did all he could, but Eric Wilson, making his second straight start, stood him up.
He almost got it. Mackenzie Alexander comes up and he leaves him grasping for air. And then he just comes up short. That would have been a huge conversion for this Bears offense, and they're talking about it right now as to what they're going to do.
Well, they don't have to run a play. They can take as much time as they want. First quarter is history in week 17 in this game, in a battle in the NFC North. Bears lead 7-0 in a game the Vikings desperately need. Back after this from your local Fox station. Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, America's game of the week. US Bank Stadium here in Minneapolis, and after having Trubisky out on the field as we get ready for action to start the second quarter, here's Pat O'Donnell to punt. The rookie, 25-year-old former Canadian Football Leaguer Zylstra is back, and now the offense comes scrambling onto the field. A late switch.
They should have to let the Vikings match up with a substitution.
And now a flag for delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
I mean, that was exciting, Troy. That was like unbelievable. Come on,
Nagy.
You crazy guy.
I tell you, Zylstra's back there. He was wondering what the heck was going on.
So Kyle Long loved it. Whatever. It's like a line change in the NHL.
Come on, it's week 17.
That's right. Anything's possible. So back to where we were. O'Donnell to punt. Zylstra waiting deep. End over end. Zylstra with a fair catch. Back around is 12. Tomorrow, the Red Box Bowl kicks off between Oregon and Michigan State at 2:30 Eastern on Fox. And then flip over to FS1 as number 17 Utah battles number 22 Northwestern in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl at 6:30 Eastern, or catch it all on the Fox Sports app. Well, what do we think for Kirk Cousins?
Well, the good thing for Kirk Cousins is after that opening possession, their defense has tightened up and they've kept it just a 7-0 ball game.
Here is Thielen getting it on the handoff, and he lost a yard. First guy there was Leonard Floyd. This defense is still playing. Kurt Menefee's still playing. Here he is with a game break.
Well, and the Eagles are leading for the first time. Nice pass. out to Alshon Jeffrey, 16 yards, and then Jake Elliott with a 33-yard field goal puts them up 3-0 over Washington. As you know, if the Vikings lose, they can still make the playoffs if Philly loses. Joe?
But if not, regarding Philly, Vikings lose, they're out. If Philly wins, here's a little play action. Cousins from the end zone finds Cook, and this drive's going nowhere.
Well, Joe, if you look at this offense, when Kevin Stefanski took over for John DeFilippo, they opened up against Miami. Miami has one of the worst run defenses in football, and they just went right through them. And they hand the ball off, they run 5 yards. They hand the ball off, they go 8 yards. And easy to call plays when that happens. Last week, they struggled a little bit, as you said, when they opened up against Detroit. Defense kept them in it, but then they got the running game going. This is a game where you're not going to be able to rely on the run game, and it becomes harder then as the score starts to drift, keeping with that run game, and this will be the toughest challenge for Stefanski today.
Cousins in trouble and just able to avoid the safety, and a flag comes in. Remember, if it's a hold in the end zone, it goes as a safety, but it doesn't appear to be so.
It was close on Cousins as to whether or not he was in the end zone. I know he came out, but where was he exactly when the hold took place?
We'll get the call here from Clete Blakeman. Looks like they'll decline it, so this is not going to be a safety. This will be a declined hold.
Yeah, it looked like it was on Tom Compton from what I saw there, the left guard, number 79, and it occurred very early. So it wouldn't even be close to being a safety anyway.
Offense, number 79. That penalty's decline brings up 4th down.
The bigger point about Kirk Cousins as you look at the replay, when we visited with him when he was with the Washington Redskins, and he's been in this type position before, and we'll get into that later, he is so meticulous. He uses or at least used an Excel spreadsheet to plan out each 10-minute increment of his day, which is mind-blowing just as another human walking the earth. But he puts a lot of pressure on himself to the point where Mike Zimmer every game walks up to him and says, just go play. You don't have to be perfect, just play. He looks a little tight here to start. Beautiful punt by Weil. Cohen from back inside the 35. Flag is down. Cohen reverses field, going backward now, and he's stuck.
How about this guy?
Crowd loves it, and why not? Back at the 30. But a flag is down. 65-yard punt, a beauty from Weil, and a return of -2.
And they needed that punt from Weil as well. This is a field position game. You're backed up, and you're going to give the ball to the Bears at midfield or so, and that's a great job by the special teams unit.
And that'll make Mike Prefer happy.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Chicago bench. We're getting interfering with an official. Plays 15 yards, half the distance to the goal line. And 1st down, Chicago.
Have you heard that one? Mike Pereira is with us. We'll hear from Mike on the other side of the break as we try to find where it happened. Interfering with an official. Bears have it up 7. Mike Pereira, walk us through the penalty that was just enforced.
Well, field judge Joe LaRue's backtracking, runs into the punter O'Donnell, which there's an interference, allows the referee to put it really where he wants it, where it should be, the dead ball spot here, and that backs him up another 15 yards.
How about the change in that field position?
Unbelievable. 82 yards of field position on that one play. The punt was 65 yards. The return was -2. And then a penalty of 15 yards back to the 15-yard line, and this pass is caught by Gabriel for a gain of 4. Second down and 6.
Yeah, you look at Minnesota offensively, and you know, it looks like last week when they opened up against Detroit when they had 4 straight 3-and-outs, and that's what's happened. You talked about Kirk Cousins, and it's one thing to be uptight and be wound a little tight, Joe, but when others are noticing it, you know, and everybody who's been around Kirk Cousins, whether it's in Washington with Jay Gruden or Mike Zimmer, John DeFilippo talked about it as well when he was calling the plays, and it was very noticeable his demeanor for some of these games.
Here's Burton. He's going to reach for a first down. You know, it's like the age-old joke about going for a job interview, and they say, well, what's your biggest fault? Well, I care too much. Well, I mean, for a guy that got the contract and the money of over $80 million guaranteed, I mean, he is as good a guy as you're going to meet in the league. He's heard the criticism all year. He wants to get this team back to the postseason. They got to the championship game a year ago with Case Keenum as their quarterback, and right now, you know, they're in danger of not making the postseason. He is feeling it.
There's no question. And this would be a devastating loss if Kirk Cousins is not playing at the best of his ability.
Here's Wims with his second catch of the game, a gain of 3, and Jaron Kearse out there to force him out.
You know, like we talked about, to get to this point in the year, and Kirk Cousins put up some big numbers. I mean, he has played really well. And that win against Green Bay, and, you know, in a game that everybody felt that they needed to have, and he played well, and that took a little bit of the pressure off his shoulders. But if they win today, there's going to be more pressure next week, and it's going to mount. And that's the way this game goes, and it especially goes that way when you're making, you know, $84 million over 3 years guaranteed.
Trubisky has started his day 9 for 10. He finished last week against the 49ers 16 for 17. Trying to get him on a roll headed to the postseason. Here's Burton back to the line of scrimmage. Third down coming up.
Well, the defenses now are you know, the Bears, they came out playing great right from the start. The Vikings obviously gave up the big run. They gave up some other runs in the opening possession touchdown, you know, to the Bears, but now they've kind of settled into their groove, and it's been a struggle, and that's why it becomes a field position game. That's why that punt by Weil was so huge. Here the Bears thought they were going to get the ball in midfield. Instead, they're starting this drive on the 15.
On this drive, 4 passes, no runs, 3rd and 7. Delay a game.
Yeah.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Troy, there may have been a little movement. Anthony Barr was looking for a flag for a false start, and I think him bouncing around pleading for the flag may have caught Trubisky's attention, and the play clock just ran out.
Yeah, or Barr was trying to signal to the officials that time had run out. It was right around that same time, and I don't think we saw it last week, you know, with Jameis Winston with Tampa Bay. I don't think Mitch Trubisky had any idea the play clock had run down, and I don't understand that. The quarterback should always know how much time's on the clock.
It just happened again, but they have to call a timeout. That's the 3rd time that's happened
Chicago
again.
takes a 2nd timeout.
Both timeouts that the Bears have had to take have come with the play clock almost at 0, as you see it in the background.
Yeah, and once again, I don't think Trubisky has any clue what's happening.
3rd down and 12 when we come back for the Bears up 7.
You take a look at where the play clocks are in this stadium. There's one down low, there's another one up high. And anytime I went into an opposing stadium, first thing I did in pregame warmups was locate the play clocks. You have to know how much time is on the clock every single snap. It is inexcusable for any quarterback to not know how much time is left. What's happened here in this first half is really pretty amazing. And Matt Nagy's about, if he had any hair, it wouldn't be there now.
3rd down and 12. Down the sideline, the pass is incomplete for Bellamy. But a flag is down back in the area where Trubisky let it fly.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense. Wow. Number 91. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
It's against Weatherly. Wow. Mike Pereira, they show the replay on the board here, and the crowd reacts, and I can't blame the crowd at all.
But I can't blame Clete Blakeman, because you're not allowed to contact the quarterback after you've made your first step, and it has to be before the 2nd step hits the ground. It's not the severity of the contact. In this case, it's just the lateness of the contact.
No, you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, by the letter of the law, that you can't go 2 steps. Those are hard ones to take.
Well, instead of forcing a punt, it's an automatic first down, and Tariq Cohen gets 7, brought down by Eric Wilson. So Weatherly has the call against him. Doesn't look like much. The crowd reacted when they showed the replay, and that's just where we are in 2018.
It is, and we're all hopeful, and I'm sure these officials are as well. I know the players are hopeful that that's not the case in 2019.
42.
2nd down and 3. Howard just cuts right through this Vikings defense, and a good block out there by Bradley Sowell.
Well, they're putting him at fullback, and they're letting him be a lead blocker, and he's taking on Wilson. I mean, how would you like to be Eric Wilson at 230 pounds, and you see him leading the way at 315 pounds? I mean, you got no chance. They've done that a few times now already here in this ball game. That's a lead blocker.
From the 44, first down, trying to take advantage of that call against Weatherly as Howard carries for 4, brought down by Linval Joseph.
Well, they're about to get in field goal range now after that call, so what looked like the Vikings may get some good field position of their own. Now the Bears are starting to mount a pretty good drive after that penalty.
2nd down and 6. Vikings still don't have a first down offensively, with under 8 to go in the half. Trubisky throws behind the target, Bellamy.
Actually wasn't too bad. It was a good thought there by Trubisky. He was hoping Bellamy would sit down in the hole. Had he have led Bellamy to where he could catch it, it's probably intercepted. So he just pretty much just got rid of that one.
3rd down and 6.
Well, here we are, 3rd down, and the Bears are doing a pretty good job on this down against the league's #1 3rd down defense.
Just got it away. Trubisky backpedaling. The pass is caught for the touchdown by Taylor Gabriel. What a catch by number 18.
Looked like a little bit of a double move. Yeah, he starts like he's going to maybe go to the slant, and then he takes it up the sideline. That's a good throw, but you're right. Gabriel, he kind of leaves his feet, and then he just secures the catch. He's working against Holton Hill, who, again, is playing because of Xavier Rhodes being injured.
It's a scoring play. It'll be reviewed. It looked like Gabriel was contacted short of the goal line. Either way, it's in essence 41 yards on 3rd down, and just an incredible athletic play by Gabriel. Is it a touchdown? Or is it 1st and goal? We'll find out when we come back.
After reviewing the play, the receiver did catch the ball. However, he was down by contact at the 1-yard line. It'll be Chicago's ball there, 1st and goal.
So 1st and goal at the 1. You know, no matter what happens here, this again could be a tale of 2 halves with how the Bears approach the 2nd half, depending on what the Rams are doing in LA against the 49ers. But that's why they're moving it, instead of a touchdown, back to the 1.
Yeah, right now the Rams are leading the 49ers 21-3. So it will, we'll see what the Bears are able to do here at the end of this half, but what Nagy decides to do in the 2nd half, like you said, based on that score.
1st down and goal. Howard is going to pound it in for his 2nd of the day. And in a stadium where only the Bears fans who have dared to travel into Minneapolis are making noise, this has got an eerie feeling here at the home of the Vikings.
Yeah, it sure does. And it all continued after the penalty then on Stephen Weatherly that kept this drive alive. Now give the Bears also in Mitch Trubisky credit. That was a third down play to Gabriel, the big play that set up this touchdown there. So the Vikings could have still gotten off the field.
They've used two big plays to set up their touchdowns. The big run by Jordan Howard at 42. Now the extra point is missed by Parkey, and that's starting to grow into an issue for the Chicago Bears here late. But then that completion to Gabriel to set up the touchdown. It's 13-0, and we'll be back after this from Farmers Insurance. Parkey just missed his third extra point of the season. He is 22 of 29 in the field goal department. A guy who spent a couple of years in Philadelphia, some time in Cleveland, Miami, his first year in Chicago, and he's missed from 37 and 38 over the last couple of ball games. And for the Bears, after having Robbie Gould, who was so good for so long and is good still for the 49ers, that may be an issue going forward. Kevin Stefanski is in his third game as offensive coordinator, interim offensive coordinator, and he said this about the Bears defense: I don't know what's worse, looking at the stats or looking at the film. Either one would put some fear in you as a play caller.
Well, there's no question about that. When you look at, they only had 246 total yards the last time they met. And then you watch them on film, and Khalil Mack and the job that they do shutting everyone else down. Not one that gives you a whole lot of confidence going into a ball game.
Right now, the Vikings, after that completion to Thielen, they are 1 yard away from their first down of the game. They had 11 yards. They've had 4 3-and-outs, but they are on the verge of their first fresh set of downs in this half. Cook doesn't get it. Back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Leonard Floyd on the tackle. Here's Carissa with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. So the Rams clinch the 2 seed with a win. Nick Mullins' pass intercepted by Corey Littleton, who returns it for 6. Rams have 4 takeaways in the first half. Rams up in this one 21-3. Joe?
Well, that will be evaluated at the half by Matt Nagy. 3rd down and 1. They snap it fast, and Cook has got a 1st down.
The crowd's pretty happy about that.
Well, these fans are so smart. They've been waiting for it, and kind of a Bronx cheer like, hey, all right, let's keep it going. Down 13.
Hey, I don't have to tell the Vikings this. Sometimes that first down's the hardest one to get, and now we'll see if they're able to get something going, because they desperately need to here before the half, seeing as how the Bears have been able to make some plays against their own defense.
Cousins airs it out. Robinson the target. Everybody overthrown, including Prince Amukamara.
Amukamara was in great position on that throw. I'm a little surprised, actually, that Cousins threw it. I think he had kind of predetermined at the snap that that's where he was going with the football, because Amukamara is over the top. You're going to see Aldrick Robinson as the speed guy, but Amukamara was the one essentially playing receiver on that. Maybe he's just trying to back him off a little bit. Give him a little more room on some of these intermediate throws.
A little more bad news for the Vikings, down by 13. We'll give it to you in a second. Here's Cook on 2nd and 10. 3rd down coming up. Here's Carissa Thompson with a game break.
That bad news you're alluding to is this right here. The Eagles clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Vikings loss. Foles to Alshon Jeffrey for this 2-yard score. Eagles up in this one, Joe, 10-0.
The former Bear, Alshon Jeffrey, and Nick Foles, who's coming off a career day and a franchise record 471 passing yards and 4 touchdowns in a late win against the Texans. He has the Eagles doing what they need to do. Third down and 6. Cousins out to his right. Flag is down. Cousins with a first down carry, but Bears think it's against Minnesota.
Holding. Offense. Number 74. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. We'll replay third down.
Against Remmers.
Yeah, Remmers is right at the edge of the... Yeah, there's the hold right up there in the shoulder pads of Nichols. There's Vic Fangio. Fangio has been doing this a long time. It's his 19th year as defensive coordinator. He came here in 2015. They were a good defense last year, but another year in the system for some of these young players, and then you bring on Roquan Smith as their first-round pick and Khalil Mack, and they've been dominant.
Third down and 16. This is Rudolph. He's got a mile to go. He won't get there, and this crowd expected more. DeAndre Houston Carson after a gain of 9, and it's another punt coming from the Vikings.
Well, 27 total yards here in this first half with 4 minutes to go. 1 first down. Down 13-0. Yeah, this is not what the fans were looking to. This is a Bears team that has struggled when they've had to travel here to Minnesota. And for a team that has very little to play for, given the score of the Rams game, they're putting it to the Vikings.
Now another good one from Weil. And a fair catch by Cohen back at his 12. Bears have it up 13, and we'll be back after this from Fox. One of the biggest moves that first-year head coach Matt Nagy made, Ryan Pace as well, was talking Vic Fangio into staying. And we'll get into that in a moment as the Bears have it up 13, starting at their 12. They run it with Howard. And a decent gain on first down. Steve Horn, our editorial consultant, reminding us that Fangio referred to his late friend Jim Finks, who told him if he ever got the chance to coach defense in Chicago, to take it. And when we asked Vic about why he stayed, he said, first of all, I love being in Chicago. And secondly, I saw a lot of good young players, first and second year players, who were going to take the next step. Now he got the gift of Khalil Mack coming in early September. But man, what a job he's done.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways Khalil Mack got the gift of Vic Fangio, because he's been coordinating great defenses for a long time.
Second down and 5. Howard out to his left. Good play made. And out on the edge, that play was made by Holton Hill, the rookie corner, a gain of just 2.
And I understand what you're saying, and I think Vic Fangio will be the first to tell you, as all coaches would be, that players really ultimately make the scheme, and Mack he's been nothing short of sensational. But I think what's also interesting to that, Joe, is the fact that he interviewed for this job. He interviewed for the head coaching job, you know, and still stayed on. And they're fortunate to have him. He's been talked about as maybe a candidate for some of these openings that'll come about at the end of this season next week. Whether or not that happens, you'd sure like to have him get his opportunity, but boy, he's a heck of a defensive coach meanwhile.
Vikings need a stop. Pass is broken up. Bellamy the target, and good coverage back there to break it up by Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah, that was really crucial for this Vikings defense to be able to come up and make a stop here with a little over 2 minutes to play. It would seem, unless we see a punt like we saw from Weil, that the Vikings are going to get some great field position, and they need to come away with some kind of points here to end this half and change momentum.
Total yards 202 to 27. O'Donnell. Good punt. Zylstra with a fair catch back at his own 36. A minute 57 remaining in the half. The two quarterbacks, the young Mitch Trubisky, good in this half. Not so for Kirk Cousins, but more chances await. Back after this. 13-0, and let's see if the Vikings can get something here before the half. By the way, the Bears receive the second half kickoff. Who will be the quarterback? Could be Trubisky. Could be Chase Daniel, who went 1-1 as a starter for the 2 games that Trubisky missed with the shoulder injury. First down. With a minute 57 left from their own 36.
And with all 3 timeouts. So a lot of time on the clock. They can run their offense. They don't have to throw it. Kirk Cousins just has to be smart with the football.
Over the middle. Pass is caught. Rudolph. A gain of 5. Roquan Smith, a terrific rookie linebacker, on the tackle.
Well, Stefanski talked about it, and if the ball was not coming out quickly, there were going to be 4 hands on Khalil Mack, knowing how disruptive he can be. They give protection his way.
2nd and 5. Backpedaling. What a catch by Diggs. A flag on the coverage, and Diggs makes a brilliant catch at the 49. Amukamara in coverage, and let's see who gets the call. That should be good either way.
Yep, that's a completion. I would assume they're going to catch Amukamara at the top of that route when he had a hold of Stephon Diggs coming back.
Pass interference, defense, number 20. That penalty decline is all the plays, a first down.
Diggs is so good. He's having a career year statistically. He's got 3 catches in this game. That gives him 97 as the Vikings try to have a pair of 100 catch receivers.
Well, and he's 13 yards away from his first 1,000-yard season. He came into this game just 26 yards short. You'd say, well, that's going to be easy. Well, not so fast. Last week, he only had 10 yards receiving in that win against Detroit.
Here's Cook. Gets around Floyd, and for the first time, the Vikings are on the Chicago half of midfield. McManus out there to force him out with a minute 24 remaining.
Yeah, try to slow down that pass rush a little bit and hand the ball off to Cook, and they get 5 yards, and he's able to get out of bounds, and they preserve their timeouts.
We saw Mike Zimmer in his 5th year, a 2-time division champion head coach. Got to the champ game last year at the end of a 13-3 season, and trying to get to the postseason for the 3rd time in 5 years. 2nd and 5. Cousins, Rudolph. Pass is caught. Tackle is strong by Amos.
Well, now they put Khalil Mack on the other side, and they've got Kyle Rudolph, who's helping out with the rookie Brian O'Neill on him. And Vic Fangio, I said earlier, he's not a guy who brings a lot of pressure, but that time they did bring the rookie Roquan Smith. Cousins recognized it, gets the ball out, but really for no gain.
3rd down and 5. 1 for 6 on 3rd down to the Vikings. Cousins down the middle for Thielen. Pass is broken up with a flag as Thielen got a hand up around the head. Deion Bush.
You can see Adam Thielen, they go too deep and they're playing man underneath, and Thielen, boy, he had a chance for a big play. This is a ball that gets away from Cousins, does not take him to the middle, but you see then to the head, and they get the call, and so a new set of downs, and that's Deion Bush, who got called for the penalty, the right call. He's playing for Eddie Jackson. But you're going to see Thielen in the middle, and the job that he does. If Cousins leads him more to the middle, this is really a big gain. He wins.
An incomplete pass. However, we have a personal foul. Defense grabbing the face mask. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
And he did get some of the face mask, Deion Bush, on Adam Thielen.
Yeah, he really did. And boy, those are hard penalties to take for teams that in these type situations. We've certainly seen them against the Vikings. Now Deion Bush has one against him that keeps this drive alive and sets the Vikings up in good position.
But it's a 15-yard penalty instead of a spot foul, and a 31-yard penalty it would have been for pass interference. First down at the 31. Extra man on the rush. Cousins spins out, throws, pass caught, Diggs. And then he got hit by Roquan Smith. And a timeout is taken by Minnesota. Gain of 5 with Isaiah Irving on the tackle. So second down and 5, 2 timeouts and over a minute to go, and we will welcome you inside the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck with a jacketless Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman. This is the opportunity here, not just to get a little momentum, get on the scoreboard, but again, you know, you don't know how the Bears are going to come out in the second half. Will it be Trubisky? Will it be Chase Daniel? This is a big chance for Minnesota.
No doubt. I mean, they're in field goal range now. They got a chance to come away with more here before the end of the half. And you know, Cousins is still not really settled in. He's had a couple throws now, even that one to Thielen where they got the penalty in the first down that could have been a much bigger play. But it's a defense hard to cash in against, as we know. They don't give up many touchdowns.
Cook incomplete, spinning as he tried to grab it.
They're
third down and 5.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. They're so sound in the Bears, that is, are so sound in what they do, and they just simply do not make many mistakes, and they make you earn every single yard. And a lot of defenses that are that way are pretty basic in the things they do within their coverages. The Bears give a variety of different looks. They're very well coached within all of them.
Third down and 5 now. Cousins, that play's not there at all. Thielen was the target with Fuller, the Pro Bowler, in coverage, and the field goal unit will come on with Bailey. They'll have to settle for a try for 3.
Last time I told you they played 2 deep man. This time they play single man, single high coverage, and they drop the safety down. And he's going to try to pick up anything that's dragging across the middle. And they've got the one-on-one look that they were hoping to get, but good coverage. So nice defensive stand there after the penalty.
45-yard try is drilled by Bailey. Now 21 of 28 on the year, the former Cowboy. And no doubt some frustration offensively for the Vikings. Offensively, you could read the lips easily of Cousins saying, hey, I don't have 10 seconds. Well, and then that got a reaction from Adam Thielen.
Yeah, it's clear that they got what they wanted. You know, they got the single high safety, they got the one-on-one look, and there's not many corners in this league that can match up with Thielen or Diggs in those situations. And whatever it was that Cousins wanted from Thielen, he didn't feel that he got it. And then Thielen, of course, felt that, you know, he didn't get the throw that was required on the route that he ran. But they're trying to work through this right now. You see that I think Cousins is trying to tell him he wants him to go right now high to the corner, to the pylon in the corner and set the angle. And when there's confusion on the angle when you're running a corner route, there's a lot of incomplete passes then as a result of that, because you just don't know where that receiver's coming out of the break, especially when you've got pressure in the pocket.
Boy, there's some stress down there on that sideline, isn't there? That is Cousins just kind of.
And you would expect that, right? I mean, you'd expect that from Cut. I mean, he's been hearing it all season long. There's no question, and he knows. You don't have to tell him. I'm sure he was asked all week long by the local media, you know, as he has been throughout the season, but especially coming into this game and what's at stake. And yeah, you can see there is a lot of tension, and you find yourself here at home down 13-3.
Only one timeout for Chicago. They had to use 2 with the play clock winding down twice. Howard is tripped up, gets a couple. Visa halftime is coming up. Plenty to talk about with regard to the individual games and then what the results could lead to next week and in the upcoming playoff seeding. Looks like the Bears are relatively content with where it sits right now. The Rams are blowing out the 49ers, so no shock there. We'll see how the Bears come out in the second half of this one.
I think this is smart by Matt Nagy. He went to the line, made it look like they were going to try to do something, and then milk the clock down.
And that should do it. And will. In a game the Vikings just simply have to win. They trail by 10 at halftime. And the Bears receive the second half kick. Matt Nagy, what a year. What a job. From 4 straight last place finishes for the Bears organization to the top spot in the NFC North. And at the very worst, a number 3 seed. The play of the first half is presented by DirecTV. More of your thing. That's our thing. The completion of Taylor Gabriel. Nagy knows how to use this offensive depth chart. And they can come at you from a lot of different directions. All right, a half in the books. Bears up 10. That was today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. This beautiful stadium, you could make the case it's the top venue in the National Football League. There is some stress on the field and in the seats. The first half stats obviously dominated by Chicago. They lead by 10, and they'll start the second half with the football. And we'll see who comes out at quarterback for Chicago, with the Rams beating up on the 49ers. And it will be Mitch Trubisky. Let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
Well, I spoke with Mike Zimmer coming out of the locker room, and he said offensively we need to get the ball out quicker and we need to run the ball more. I did ask him about the exchange between Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins on the sideline. He said it's simply football. They're fine. He said, what did he say to his offense? He said, boys, it's a 10-point game. You need to hang in there. Defensively, though, he said we need to help out rookie Holton Hill.
He is playing and starting in the place of the injured Xavier Rhodes as Jordan Howard carries for 6 on the first play of the second half.
And let me just say this, Joe. In that first half, there was a lot of focus on our part about Kirk Cousins and the Vikings offense, or lack thereof. This Minnesota defense, they deserve a little bit of the blame as well. When you look at what Mitch Trubisky and this offense did in that first half, over 200 yards of offense in that first half. And if you go back to last year, in the most meaningful game of the season, the NFC Championship game against the Eagles had 450 yards in that game. This is the most meaningful game for the Vikings, and right now this defense really hasn't shown up much either.
Here's Howard. He'll be 2 yards short of a first down.
There's been 2 games this year where offenses had a lot of success. Early in the season, the Los Angeles Rams had over 500 yards of offense. And then later in the year against New England, they had a big day, over 450 yards of offense. Everyone else, they've pretty much shut down. And in the most meaningful game of the year at home, this defense has to create some takeaways. They have to hit the quarterback. They have to do the things that they've been known to be for much of Mike Zimmer's tenure here in Minnesota. And that first half did not resemble that at all.
3rd down and 2. Howard carries. Howard gets it. And there have been some yards right up the gut against this Vikings defense, as Howard picks up 4 yards and a first down.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting play. We were talking about it there at halftime for Matt Nagy as far as, what he elects to do. And we've got Trubisky in. Jordan Howard's now obviously on the sidelines. He's not done for the afternoon. But, how do you go about it with the Eagles winning in their game? And, of course, there's still some things dependent on what happens in Seattle. But in some ways, they can kind of determine a little bit as to who they might face.
Right now, the Bears are averaging 5.7 yards per carry. Here's Cohen. And he will add to that. A gain of 7. How about more on Nagy? Aaron?
I walked off the field with him after the first half, and I said, what are you going to do since the Rams are up? He said, what's the score? And I asked him, you really don't know? He said, no, what is it? I told him, and he said, well, you just broke that to me. He said to me, just like what he said to us on the phone this week, guys, he said, I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to go in, talk to some people, and figure out how to handle the second half. I said, do you bring everyone back in? He goes, I don't know. We're going to have to see how it plays out.
It's a hard position for any coach to be in. If someone gets hurt, if an impactful player gets hurt, no matter what you did, it was wrong.
Here's Cohen, cuts back, has a first down and more. Hill on the stop, but Cohen got 8. Well, they've already lost their rookie receiver, Anthony Miller. But then the other side of the argument, Troy, is you've got Mitch Trubisky, who is coming off the injury, trying to build. They've got their most important game likely coming up next week. It seems like that's a foregone conclusion. You want to get Trubisky on a roll, and maybe that's more important than quote-unquote rest for some of your other players.
I think you're right, Joe, and I think so too. I would. It's easy for me to say from up here, but I think I would just play it, you know, and try to go into the postseason winning 9 of 10 and with some real momentum.
Well, it's been 5 straight runs until this safe short throw to Tariq Cohen. Forced out by Smith, a gain of 3. We had a chance to visit for the first time with Matt Nagy. You know, almost verbally and vocally, he sounded like Sean McVay. You know, for the last year, it's been, okay, what team can find the next Sean McVay? Now I think going into next year, it's going to be what team can find the next Sean McVay, Matt Nagy.
For sure. Yeah, these guys they're young, they're creative, they're innovative, and that's where this league has been, and it's where it's headed.
Incomplete for Howard.
Right now, Joe, a big third down for Minnesota. To start this second half and to potentially flip field position, and they're not going to do that now that the Bears have moved the ball out to midfield. But to be able to get off the field and not relinquish any more points and make it any harder than it's already been for this offense.
Brian Witzman is in at right guard where Kyle Long started as they try to get him back into game shape. Here's a screen for Howard, looking for blocks, getting them. Well set up play, but a flag at the end of it. The flag is sitting at the 35 past the first down marker. And we'll see what the call is as Howard was out of bounds at the Minnesota 20.
Holding. Offense. Number 11. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replaying. Third down.
So it's from the spot of the foul. It's against Kevin White. And right now, let's see where they're going to put the football. It looks like back at the...
Wow.
They're marking it all the way back at midfield at the moment.
Joe, it looked to me like Holton Hill pulled Kevin White to the ground. I saw very little from Kevin White on that play as much as Holton Hill yanking him on top of him.
It'll be third down and 12 after that call on Kevin White. Here it is again, this time for Cohen. Able to secure the catch, but out of bounds. It'll be fourth down. Let's go back to that important call against Kevin White.
Yeah, number 24, Holton Hill, and you know he's got the jersey there. I didn't see anything from Kevin White. That's another phantom penalty. A very big penalty here in the early going of this second half.
Mike Pereira, what'd you see?
You get deceived when you see both players going to the ground, but you're right, Troy. It really was the defensive player that pulled the offensive player down.
Man, that was a huge call. Instead of 1st and 10 at the Vikings 20, up by 10. The call against White, and now the punt. Zylstra back inside the 10. So the call against White on the screen right there in front of you. The reaction by Matt Nagy, couldn't believe it. Vikings have it down 10. As we welcome you back to America's Game of the Week with our producer Z, as we call him. She's Science, our director Rich Russo, Colby Bourgeois on the right, punching buttons that none of us understand.
Bruce here.
Bruce here. That's how he gets on the conference call. Well, let's see. What's it going to be for Kirk Cousins in this second half? 10 for 15, 44 yards, and a quarterback rating of 70.1. It would help to get the running game going, which has been so good the previous 2 weeks. That's Cook for 6.
A little different defense this week, right, with the Chicago Bears trying to get the running game going. I know Aaron Andrews talked about her conversation with Mike Zimmer saying we need to run the ball more, but prior to the last drive of the first half, they had run the ball 7 times and thrown it 10 times. It really hasn't been so much about them not running the ball as much as it's been them just simply not keeping drives alive by converting on third downs.
The first time they met at Soldier Field, the Vikings had only 22 rushing yards for the game. And the man who just carried it, Dalvin Cook, had 9 carries for 12 yards back in week 11. Cook has stopped a yard short of a first down. The last few weeks, though, Dalvin Cook has looked a lot more like the guy that played well for the first 3+ games as a rookie a year ago before the torn ACL against the Lions.
Pretty banged up coming into the year with a hamstring, and yeah, he's just now gotten back to form. And here's a third down for him to see what they're able to do. They've not been good on this down, and some of them have been short yardage, much like this one.
1 for 8 in the game. Pass is broken up. And a flag is thrown on the play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 52. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's against
They called Roquan
Khalil
Smith.
Mack, who went body into body here.
I think they meant Roquan Smith, number 58 is my guess. You know, he's the one who made initial contact.
I mean, neither hit looked really egregious.
I give up. I mean, this is nauseating each week to see these kinds of penalties. You know, here comes Roquan Smith, 58. He lets up. He doesn't take him to the ground, and then Khalil Mack comes in at the end of this, and you know he does go shoulder to the helmet, and maybe that's what they saw is the headgear shift, and that will draw a penalty.
But if that's the case, then they said the wrong number. Here's Thielen with the catch in the biggest play that we've seen. Adam Thielen after the penalty, and Thielen comes up limping as he bangs his knee on the turf. 18-yard completion. And the first play of over 10 yards in the game for the Vikings on offense.
Yeah, finally they're able to get a chunk. You know, and yeah, Thielen, I think he's fine. He got up a little bit slow, like you said. He's a tough guy. What an amazing player.
Yeah, loco, yes. White. What? White. Yeah, white. 180. What's up?
Cousins gets hit. Down he goes in the arms of Hicks. What a year for the 7th-year pro. And now the Pro Bowler, a loss of 8.
Yeah, he goes right through Mike Remmers. It's just one-on-one, no center help. Elflein works opposite, and just a straight shot on Kirk Cousins. There's just nothing that Remmers can do. Yeah, Akeem Hicks, he's the total package. He plays the run, and he's able to get pressure much like that inside. A heck of a job this year getting sacks.
Here's Cook on 2nd and 18. That's Amos coming up to make the stop. And a gain of 10, so another big third down coming up for Minnesota, down by 10. So a couple of iffy calls here against the Bears. This is not a heavily penalized team. Another mark of a well-coached team. The Bears come in with the 2nd fewest penalties called against him in the league, 2nd to Tennessee through 15 games. 3rd down and 8.
Well, good run there on 2nd down after the sack to at least make this somewhat manageable.
Black 80! Black 80 up!
Cousins throws, sideline, incomplete, but a flag. Robinson the target, Amukamara in coverage.
Yeah, it was one-on-one, and they're going to get Prince Amukamara. With the penalty, it appears, at the top of this, as Robinson's trying to come out of that break, there was the grab.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 20. Ball replaced to respond to foul. 1st down, Minnesota.
So another 1st down by penalty. And that's the 2nd pass interference against Amukamara in the game. The first one was declined.
Yeah, no, well, he's the most penalized defensive player on this Bears team. And teams, Fuller on the other side, he's a Pro Bowl guy. He's had a heck of a season. And, so Amukamara's gotten a lot of opportunities with balls thrown in his direction.
Cousins flips it out for Cook. Nice little toss, and Cook in stride takes it to the Chicago 32. Leonard Floyd out there to make the stop. You look at these linebackers, you look at these stats, Troy, that Chicago has put up defensively, and the line across the league over the years has been, no matter what team you're talking about, yeah, well, they're not the '85 Bears, but to consider how the league has changed,
yeah,
and what this defense has been able to do with the takeaways and the sacks and the sound fundamentals, it's as impressive. Here's Murray with his first carry. Latavius Murray with a 1st down inside the 15, and some life in Minnesota.
Well, Latavius Murray, he puts his foot in the ground. He sees the cutback lane on the backside. Riley Reef, the left tackle, he does a good job of making a key block. You got Adam Thielen in there. He's helping out. Latavius Murray, he's been a solid player. He's a nice changeup, but I know that the Pittsburgh Steelers are known as the steel curtain, but essentially this is where this defense for the Bears, they put up the wall. They just do not give up many touchdowns here in the red zone.
First time inside the red zone for the Vikings, and Murray goes backward. A loss of 2, and Danny Trevathan, who has won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos, there to make the stop. You look at the Bears defense at home, they're just impenetrable. On the road, you can get them a little more, but they've really come out here in this game with not a ton to play for right now, and Vic Fangio has his defense flying around.
Well, there's Khalil Mack, and he's right here at the top of the screen. This is usually where he likes to come and make a big play.
2nd down and 12. Cousins hangs in, pass caught, Diggs inside the 10. A gain of 6. Roquan Smith, the rookie, remember his holdout, and then the pulled hamstring to get his season off to a slow start. He's the top tackler on this terrific Chicago defense.
He's really special. And a guy who can run like he can. And, you talked about the new age offenses and defenses that have to face those and how they look and feel a little differently. The measurements are different. Roquan Smith is the new age linebacker that can do it all.
3rd down and 6. Cousins backpedaling, finds his man, Cook. Where will they spot it? Looks to be short. And if he is short, as they inch it forward a little more, a decision coming from Mike Zimmer. Let's take another look.
This will be close, and I tell you, Khalil Mack was almost there. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to have a down the line shot.
I'll tell you, with the ball in the left arm of Cook, it looked like a pretty good spot. And it is 4th down, and it is Zimmer deciding to go for it, down by 10. And getting it. But a challenge flag has been thrown by Zimmer.
Yeah, they got it. They got it anyway, but Zim.
Minnesota challenging the ruling on the previous play.
He'd like to have that one back. He's likely going to lose the challenge and therefore lose a timeout.
And lose the first down they just got.
And that's right. So he hit the trifecta there by throwing the red hanky.
I don't know that there's any definitive look as Amukamara made the hit on Dalvin Cook to say it should have been a first down. Challenged by Zimmer and more frustration for Cousins.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. It is 4th down. Minnesota will be charged with its first timeout.
So it looked like a good spot. They challenged. Meanwhile, Cousins had hurried to the line, picked up the first down with a sneak, and now he'll have to do it again. And it's worth just bringing up. You're down by 10. You go for it here. You know, you should get it less than a yard, but it's against the Chicago defense. There's a bit of a risk here in not getting any points on this trip.
Well, for sure. And, you know, the conservative play would be to make it a one-possession game, kick the field goal. But I think based on what's at stake, you are down 10, and then the trust he has in his own defense, too.
They hand to Cook. It's close. From where the official's running in, Cook got it. He knows it. As Kwiatkowski and Floyd came together on the stop, let's take a look down the line, and boy, it's close.
It looked good from this angle,
and they gave it to him.
Yeah, I think it was a good call and a good spot.
So now 1st and goal. But that exchange cost Minnesota a timeout. Cousins throws as he backpedals for the touchdown to Diggs.
Nichols, number 98, he's able to get through the middle and apply some pressure then on Cousins. They covered it very well on the front side. That's the third read in the progression for Kirk Cousins. He's going flat to corner on the front side. He comes back to Diggs on the backside. He's wide open.
And that catch for Diggs gets him 1,000 yards on the season to join Adam Thielen in that category. But the biggest part of it, it's a 3-point game. In a game the Vikings have to win. Well, for the Vikings, exactly what they needed. They went for it on a 4th down. They got it. And then this to Diggs to get him to 1,000 yards receiving on the year. And maybe most importantly, you heard Aaron's report talking to Mike Zimmer. He said we need to run the ball more. They had 38 rush yards on that drive. After having only 18 in the entire first half, that helped get him down there.
Yeah, it sure did. The big run by Latavius Murray on that cutback. You talk about Diggs, and he's got 1,000 yards even. He's got his 26 yards exactly on that catch to give him his first 1,000-yard reception season.
How about a game break? Here's Carissa Thompson.
Thanks so much, Joe. So Nick Foles will find Nelson Aguilar. Originally called incomplete, they challenged. The play was reversed, so Eagles up 17-0 in this one. You know the deal. Eagles win, and they're in.
That's provided the Vikings lose, and they are trailing by 3. But you see that top bar. Vikings win, they're in, Eagles are out. From the 25, Trubisky's still in there. Down the sideline and incomplete for Kevin White. Good coverage downfield by the rookie Holton Hill.
Well, first of all, that was a really nice job by Mitch Trubisky, recognizing that Harrison Smith was coming on the blitz and being able to pick it up. And then Holton Hill, that's the guy, certainly, that the young player, he's done well when he's had his opportunities to get in the games and play. He's had to play some this year for Xavier Rhodes. He's also played some for Trey Waynes, and he's really come along. I know that Mike Zimmer thinks a lot of him and shown a lot of progress throughout the season.
Undrafted out of Texas, 2nd and 10. Taylor Gabriel now out of the game at the moment with a shoulder injury. His return is questionable. Holton Hill was down, and that's why they stopped the play before the snap. He went down on his knees.
Yeah, he just went to the ground.
So before 2nd and 10, that's why they blew it dead. And they check on the health of Holton Hill with 1:46 left, third quarter. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm in what is now a 3-point game, and Holton Hill went down on his knees before that 2nd and 10, and now he's in the tent on the sideline. 1:46 left, third quarter. Taquan Mizell in the backfield with Trubisky. Trubisky out to his left. He can run, but he slides, does not end up taking a hit, and he will slide short of first down yardage, a gain of just 5.
Well, that's the first time he's taken off and ran here in this game. The last time these two teams met, he was able to pick up quite a few yards on the ground, and I know that was a real concern coming in with Zimmer. The running quarterbacks, Russell Wilson also. Josh Allen earlier in the year, guys who were mobile have impacted and hurt this defense. They've been able to keep Trubisky in the pocket until that one, but still only gave up 5 yards.
Rushed for 43 yards back in week 11 against the Vikings. 3rd down and 5. Just got it away. Trubisky steps through again, and he's going to pick it up now. And out of bounds near the 42. When we talked to Mike Zimmer, he said, we will play man but have a spy on Mitch Trubisky, and Trubisky carried for 12.
Yeah, Anthony Barr, he was the spy, and they were in man, and so everyone else has their back to the quarterback. And you know, Anthony Barr, he's a really athletic guy. He can move himself, but I've always felt that on the spy, and you give a guy a two-way break and that much field, 53.5 yards to work with, it's hard to corral those guys, and they typically aren't able to do it, and neither was Barr.
That play was close to delay of game. Here's Howard, left side, cuts it upfield. He turns what could have been no gain into a gain of 4, and that's going to do it for the first 3 quarters here. The Bears with the ball and the lead on America's Game of the Week as the Vikings have just finally found the end zone. Back after this from your local Fox station. America's Game of the Week continues. Bears trying to spoil the party. Fans doing all they can to cheer their Vikings into the postseason. And it looks like it'll take a win to make that happen. Philly leading at Washington. 2nd and 6 here.
And 15 minutes for everybody to know what the Vikings' fate will be.
Trubisky down the sideline. Bellamy incomplete. 3rd down and 6. Carissa Thompson with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. A little update here on the AFC. So Ravens clinch the AFC North with a win. Justin Tucker hits this 44-yard field goal. Ravens leading this one 23-14. Joe?
They are headed for a number 4 seed and a division championship. Keeping the Steelers out. The game tonight, Tennessee and Indianapolis. A win and in situation for those two clubs. 3rd down and 6. Trubisky protected. Pass is caught for the first down by Wims. Javon Wims with another catch. Working on Trey Wayne, 16 yards.
Well, you go back and you look at this game, Joe, and what it'll show is that the Bears have dominated on 3rd down offensively. They're converting 60% now on 3rd down in this game, and this is a Vikings defense that, as I said earlier, has led the league in third down defense, the last 3 years. This year just giving up 28%. And the Bears have been awfully good on that down. That's why they're leading.
That's the third catch, by the way, on that big third down conversion by Wims. Third catch of this game. He came in with none. And he bodied up Trey Waynes and made the grab. And right now, these Bears are playing without Anthony Miller, without Allen Robinson, and without Taylor Gabriel.
Yeah, and you know, a 7th-round pick out of Georgia, and like you said, he came into this game without any receptions, and he's getting these opportunities because of Robinson being down. And then, of course, like you said, then all of a sudden they lose Anthony Miller.
Gabriel still not out there. Here's an incompletion on the throw to Cohen.
Oh, that's one that Trubisky would like to have back. It just got away from him. He knows it because there were a lot of bodies out there, but the Bears had it set up pretty well. You can see he just kind of pulls it rather than giving him a little something. That Tariq Cohen, I've enjoyed watching him. This is our first Bears game in quite some time, and my first opportunity to kind of study him. And boy, what a dynamic player he is.
It would be a 56-yard try from this spot if they don't get anything on 3rd and 10. Trubisky got away from Hunter. Flag flies in the secondary as Anthony Barr gets the sack. But let's see if this, and it is a hold in the secondary, which is an automatic first down.
Holding defense, number 27. It's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's against Jaron Kearse.
As Jaron Kearse was in the middle, and he, right here at the top, was all over him. He definitely grabs him. Here it is right here. You get a much better look as he's trying to come off the ball.
And so Kearse with the call against him, a defensive hold, brings about a first down at the 33.
It was Trey Burton who he was holding.
Howard to the 30. Here's an important game break. Here's Kurt.
Well, big news for the Eagles. They're up 17-0 against Washington, but Nick Foles goes down, sacked by Ryan Kerrigan, heads to the locker room. They're checking out his ribs. He is now questionable to return. Nate Sudfeld takes over for what could be the rest of the way. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Well, remember the hit that Foles took at the end of the game by Clowney a week ago, straight into his sternum. And now he's questionable.
Yeah, I tell you, judged by the way he was walking off, it to me looked like a good sign.
Howard gets a yard. Maybe they give him progress for a yard and a half. Everson Griffin on the stop. 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, what are they going to do now? You know, can this Vikings defense come up with a stop? Now that they've gotten them once again to 3rd down. This was a real concern coming in for Matt Nagy as to, you know, how they were going to be able to handle this down against a defense that had been so dominant and shutting people down. And yet they've been able to make plays. They've kept it in manageable 3rd downs, and then they've delivered.
3rd down and 6.
Looks like Zimmer might be coming after him.
They kind of back out of it. Trubisky throws, passes, caught for the first down by Trey Burton. I like that little note on the call sheet for Matt Nagy. You see that at the bottom that said BU. And I think Nagy has to remind himself in his first year as a head coach to let it hang out. This is an offense that's fun to watch. They come at you from a lot of different directions. You see it on the backside of that call sheet. Just a personal reminder to do what he does, even in a game that probably doesn't mean anything to him.
Yeah, it doesn't, but at the same time, I think knowing what's at stake for the opponent, this is a big game for a guy like Mitch Trubisky. That was a heck of a throw right there to Trey Burton on 3rd down.
Here's Howard cutting back to the line of scrimmage. That's it.
I mean, Joe, I think if you look at, let's just say Mitch Trubisky, and understanding that there's really nothing at stake, but yet he's playing against one of the best defenses in football who has everything at stake. They're doing everything they can to try to stop this offense, and yet they've had success. They've moved the football, and he's played well in this game, and he's delivered some key throws on the down that quarterbacks get paid to deliver. That's a good sign for all Bears fans as they go into the postseason.
2nd down and 10. Our Fox box temporarily down. They fake the toss. Trubisky throws back to Burton, and Burton is going to be a yard, maybe 2. We'll call it 2, short of a 1st down, knocked down by Holton Hill.
But it kind of goes back, and I understand the penalty on Jaron Kearse, kept this drive going a few plays earlier. But hey, if you're going to be a great defense and you're going to be known as a defensive team, you got to make stops when they're there and dominate an opponent. This is not the Los Angeles Rams offense that they're facing. And so, yeah, their offense has not been particularly good. I don't think this defense has been particularly good either.
3rd down along 1, direct snap to Howard. And Howard picks it up, and that's exactly what you're talking about, but a flag is down at the 16. Here's the call.
Illegal motion. Offense number 10. We do not reset for the full second required. The 5-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
Mike Pereira, they call it against Trubisky.
And because if you are under center or near the center and then you go in motion, you have to stop and reset for a second. He did not, and that created the illegal shift.
On the direct snap to Jordan Howard. And that was him in motion toward the bottom of the screen, and instead of a 1st down, it's 3rd down and 7.
And he was trying to get set, and that's just a guy getting the ball snapped who doesn't play quarterback, and doesn't understand that, and hadn't preached it enough that Trubisky had to get set.
Timeout taken by the sideline for Chicago. Play clock again dwindling. We welcome in a new audience, and we welcome you into a game the Vikings need to win to stamp their ticket for the postseason. You saw the touchdown run by Jordan Howard, the big completion to Taylor Gabriel. Howard had another touchdown, the first touchdown of the day moments ago to Stephon Diggs to get him to 1,000 yards receiving on the year to get this to a 3-point game. But there it is. The Bears are likely locked into a home game next weekend as the number 3 seed. The Vikings need a win, it appears, to get into the postseason. Otherwise, the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles would slide in. They're winning in Maryland. 2 3rd down conversions on this drive, 3rd and 7.
They go trips to the field, but they got one-on-one here at the top. A lot of times you get that one-on-one look. That's where you're going to go with the ball.
Blitz off the edge. Trubisky has a man for the 1st down. Catch is made by Wims. That's his 4th. Takes out a cheerleader, make sure she's okay. He's doing it all.
Well, look how soft Holton Hill's playing. I mean, you could go out on the practice field and throw this, and this is what they do all week long. I mean, Wims, he's not contested at all. Holton Hill's out there playing soft. They give him free access off the line of scrimmage, not contested anywhere along the way. All Trubisky had to do was make an accurate throw.
The Bears are 8 for 12, 67% on 3rd down against the top 3rd down defense in the league. Howard cuts back. Takes on the safety Harris and plows down near the 3.5, a gain of 4.
Had Xavier Rhodes, had he have played today, in visiting with Mike Zimmer, he said that he would match up, and that was under the assumption, I'm certain, that Allen Robinson might play. Well, Rhodes isn't playing, so those guys are not matching up on the outside. They're staying left and right in the cornerback position. But if Rhodes were playing, then he would be on one of those guys, and obviously he'd be playing a much different style of ball than Holton Hill. So his absence certainly has been felt by this Vikings defense.
Second and goal. Cohen carries and takes it in. Touchdown, Chicago. A 4-yard touchdown run by Tariq Cohen, his 3rd touchdown rushing of the year. And Troy, this offense that's without Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, and Anthony Miller, their top 3 receivers, has just driven it right down the throat of the Minnesota defense.
That's really, really impressive by this Bears offense and their resolve. About Tariq Cohen, the guy's 5'6" and 180 pounds.
Now they're going to go for 2. On the year, 3 for 4 going for 2. With Amuka Mara in the game on offense. And a timeout is taken. So we'll welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck along with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. And, you know, it's all out there for the Minnesota Vikings. I think so far, and who knows how this thing's going to end, is the Bears are about to try for 2. You really have to come away impressed with Matt Nagy, what they're doing offensively. The defense has been good, but they are really shorthanded here.
There's no doubt. I mean, we'll see what happens here on the 2-point play.
That's corner Amuka Mara in motion. The pass is caught for the 2-point conversion. It's Kwiatkowski. They had a corner, Troy, and a linebacker, Nick Kwiatkowski. Nagy in this offense. Man, impressive. They can come at you from so many different ways, and this is an 11-point game. Wow. As we welcome you back to Minneapolis, the Chicago Bears are spoiling the party for the Vikings and their fans, leading by 11. They went for 2 instead of trying the extra point. Parkey has missed 1 in this game and 3 on the year, so whether it's that or trying to get to a score where a tie is unlikely, who knows, but it worked as Kwiatkowski, a linebacker, made the grab for the last 2 points that have been put on the board to make it 21-10. And here comes Kirk Cousins, and if there was pressure to start the game with 7:46 left and 2 timeouts thanks to an ill-advised challenge, here they are down by 2 scores.
Well, here they are, and they've got to get the ball down the field, which they have not been able to do. Kirk Cousins has completed 15 passes. He's 15 of 20. He only has 80 yards. I mean, less than 6 yards per completion. Not yards per attempt, 6 yards per completion. This is a Bears defense that does not give up a lot of big plays, but it's go time now with 7.5 minutes to play.
Pass is nearly picked. Amuka Mara flashed in front of Aldrick Robinson and almost ended this ball game. Troy, to back up what you're saying, the Vikings do not have a 20-yard completion in this game. They've got 2 1,000-yard receivers, and they've had 47 20-yard or more completions during the season. They just can't get the ball down the field yet. Khalil Mack is out of the game for the Bears. Cousins slides out to his left. Will take off. 3rd down coming up.
Well, he was able to take off and run. And that was really something that's been encouraged. That's his first scramble, and the Bears were in man coverage. And I know in visiting with Mike Zimmer, he said that, yeah, we've talked to Cousins about how much pressure a mobile quarterback can put on a defense. And yeah, Cousins is not Mitch Trubisky, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he can run and he can create some things. And even that one, he was a little hesitant. Had he taken it right away, he probably picks up the first down.
Hey, kill. Hey, Rocco.
3rd down and 2. Cousins throws. Robinson drops it. And it's 4th down. Let's go to Kurt with a game break.
Well, the Eagles, no matter who the quarterback is, keep on rolling. Nate Sudfeld, his first NFL touchdown 22 yards to Nelson Aguilar. They're up 24-0 if things stay the same there. And in your game, the Eagles will be in the playoffs next week against the Bears. Joe, Troy, and Eric.
All right, Kurt. Meanwhile, here it's 4th down and 3, and the Vikings are going to go for it.
Yeah, Cousins, he started to run off the field. Zimmer sent him back out there, and I was thinking the same thing. If they punt here, it's pretty much game over.
If converted once on 4th down, they do not convert here. Incomplete for Stephon Diggs. Adrian Amos made the play and timed his hit with perfection. The Bears take over on downs and may end the Vikings' playoff hopes with that. Care about individual stats. Official stats has gone back and now taken a yard away from an earlier completion on Stephon Diggs. So he's sitting at 999. That is a small footnote to the scoreboard at 21-10. A big drop by Aldrick Robinson on 3rd down. A failure on 4th down on a good play by Adrian Amos. And from the 32, Benny Cunningham carries. Brought down by Eric Wilson, a gain of 3, and let's go back to that 3rd down drop.
Yeah, this was obviously a good throw by Cousins. Hits him, right square in the hands. Just loses concentration. Here's the 4th down play, and it looked like Diggs was starting to throttle it down just a touch. Cousins had Bilal Nichols right in his face, and Nichols has had a nice day. Right inside with some interior pressure, and it didn't allow Cousins to really sit in the pocket and see exactly what he had in front. But a nice play also by Amos coming up, and I don't know that it would have mattered even if Diggs had caught the ball.
2nd down and 7. Here's Cunningham. He's a yard short of a 1st down. And remember, the kicking game is anything but automatic for Chicago. But as they sit here with a 3rd down and 1, a field goal makes this a 14-point game. And just to finish on the Vikings offense here for the moment, Diggs and Thielen, who have over 2,000 combined receiving yards on the year, have combined for 52 yards receiving in this game.
Well, Stefanski talked about how painful it was to put on the film and look at the stats from the last time these two teams met. They had 246 yards then. Today they have 122.
Handoff is to Cunningham. It's 4th down. So a good stop here by the Vikings defense after the turnover on downs, as Anthony Harris was the first guy in there, and now Cody Parkey will come on to try to make it a 14-point game.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether or not Mike Zimmer would burn a timeout there. Yeah, it leaves you just one timeout, but right now your biggest battle, in addition to the Bears defense, is this clock.
42-yard try. First field goal attempt of the game.
Well, they're going to run this clock down. It's at 12 seconds, this play clock, and you don't want to take a kicker out of his timing, but they're going to milk it as much as they can.
And that was well done all the way around by Chris Tabor's crew. The special team coach for the Chicago Bears. It's a 14-point game. Under 4.5 to go. 14-point game, 4:25 left. The Vikings about to get it back. An impressive day all the way around for the Chicago Bears. And a credit to Matt Nagy with the way his team has shown up here today. There's a new audience that's joined us. It was evident early on that LA was going to do what they needed to do at home against San Francisco. So with regard to playoff seeding, nothing really out there for the Bears. But they've just simply outplayed the Vikings, who need a win to get into the playoffs. Philadelphia beat the Redskins 24-zip. If they don't rally, Philly is in with at least a chance to defend their Super Bowl title, and we saw that injury earlier with Nick Foles. And we'll see how that plays out leading into next week. How about the passing by distance for Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, you see they're 10 yards and less, 14 completions for just 62 yards. So no run after the catch to speak of, and then only 4 attempts beyond 10 yards. Forget completions, they haven't even tried much down the field.
Good protection. Dalvin Cook out of the backfield. Nice cut up field, and he's got a first down as they'll mark him at the 38. A catch and run of 12 yards. It is basically the second string defense in there right now for Chicago, including Nick Kwiatkowski, who just caught a 2-point conversion. Cousins scrambling, just throws it away. Heavy pressure by Isaiah Irving. So Floyd is out and Khalil Mack is out. Trevathan is not out there. Roquan Smith, I don't see him. They're on the sideline watching their subs chase after Cousins.
Well, you talk about going into the postseason with some momentum. It's an easy thing to lose, and you know it's easy to say now, but Matt Nagy I think he's really managed this game exceptionally well with his personnel, and they've shown up and played well.
This one just heaved downfield and incomplete for Robinson. It's 3rd down, and this just looks desperate.
Yeah, fans are starting to get up now and head for the exits, and yeah, it's lost. You know, it never really felt like the Vikings offensively felt that they could compete, you know, and they certainly did in the early going to start off the game once again with 4 straight 3-and-outs, and we knew that it would be a defensive battle. It didn't help that the Bears were able to go right through the Vikings defense right from the start and then ultimately get a 10-point lead. But this has just not been much of anything offensively.
1 for 9 on 3rd down, and the pass is incomplete. Cousins ends up on his back. Treadwell the target, and any hope of coming back in this game will rest on a 4th down as Roy Robertson Harris is down, and he was involved on the hit on Kirk Cousins. You know, Kirk Cousins had been in this position before. You go back to 2016 when he was with the Washington Redskins at home, taking on a Giants team that had nothing to play for. The Giants were already in the postseason the year the Cowboys went 13-3, so they're taking on a divisional rival. And Cousins threw 2 interceptions in the ball game, was sacked 4 times, and the Redskins lost to New York 19-10. And Cousins talked about that game and the drive home after the game during the course of the week, saying, I don't want to feel that again. And he's staring at it unless they convert here on 4th and 10.
Well, and he's the easy target. You know, he's the easy guy to kind of place everything at his feet. But I said it earlier that this defense, going back to last year, as good as they were in the biggest game, they laid an egg against the Eagles. And even though in this game, when you look at just the stats, you'd say, well, it's not too bad. They didn't make stops when they needed to make stops. And so this has been an outstanding performance by this Bears team. Hasn't won here since 2011. And like I said, they'll be heading into the postseason feeling really good and continuing to build on what they've done this season. Now winning this one will be 9 out of 10.
They need it. Pass is incomplete for Rudolph. There are no flags, and the Bears will take over. Kevin Tolliver in coverage, and with 3.5 to go, the crowd, at least some in the crowd, letting the Vikings hear it. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, they are 3.5 minutes away from getting into the postseason. And there has just been nothing out there. And again, that was against the Chicago Bears' second string defense.
Yeah, and you come into a game like this, I can assure you, I've been in these situations to where you are anticipating a win, you're going to continue. I've had it happen in the postseason, and And this obviously being week 17, the Vikings, they couldn't have imagined not winning this ball game. So all of a sudden, they come in and they don't show up, and their season's about to be over.
Here's Cunningham. Timeout taken by the Vikings. They have only one left. Tonight, the crew of the Starship Orville is back. From creator Seth MacFarlane comes a brand new season of thrilling missions and epic adventures. The Orville Season 2 premieres tonight after football on Fox.
I know Mike Zimmer talked about the fact they only ran the ball 14 times the last time these two teams met, and they threw it 40-something, and how they wanted some balance, even knowing how difficult it would be to run the football. If you take Kirk Cousins' scramble for 5 yards out of it, they ran the ball 14 times in this game. And like I said earlier in this game, the big reason is just how awful they were on third down. They just could not sustain any drives whatsoever. Just converted 1 third down in this ball game.
It'll be third down, and the Vikings will be out of timeouts with 3:24 left. Crazier things have happened, but Mike Zimmer has got to be wondering what has happened to this offense. You know, you think about the Vikings, they were picked by many to go to the Super Bowl. They made the signing of Kirk Cousins official, the 3-year guaranteed deal for $84 million. It's been a season filled with drama around the play calling that led to their offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo, getting fired. They made that switch. They made that big 3-year bet on Cousins, and this team that got to the NFC Championship game a year ago is faced with the possibility and the likelihood of not making the postseason in 2018.
It'll be a long offseason for Kirk Cousins and company.
Cunningham right side. Harrison Smith makes the play. The clock will wind down inside 3 minutes. It's fourth down.
You know, you really break down the Vikings season, Joe, and the only team that they beat that was 500 when they played them was the Miami Dolphins. Since then, the Miami Dolphins now have a losing record. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles had a losing record when they played. They now have a winning record. So regardless of how you look at it, they've only beaten one team essentially with a winning record. They come in here at home against a good football team, and they weren't real competitive.
And timeout taken by Chicago. You talked about that stretch. Vikings had won the last 6 meetings here at home against the Chicago Bears. Here's the last time the Bears won in Minnesota. The Hall of Famer was a part of it. And it was a stadium ago. McCown throwing a touchdown pass to Williams. Tillman with that return of an interception, a 17-13 win, and so a 6-game losing streak at their divisional rival Vikings should end here today, barring the unexpected, and it would be the first season sweep of the Vikings for Chicago since 2011. Trubisky. Contact.
Y'all say
no wrestling. Kevin White was into it with Trey Waynes. The officials come away talking to each other, but no flag.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about this Vikings team, and it'll be interesting, Joe, to see what general manager Rick Spielman and then along with Mike Zimmer, you know, how they look at this offseason and what is the evaluations of this football team. A year ago, they felt that they were a quarterback away from taking it all the way to the Super Bowl. They went out and secured their man, and then a year later to not even make the postseason if this score holds up. There always tends to be an overreaction. There's going to be a lot of changes.
You say if. Another chance for Cousins. He completes to Thielen, but they need a quick score. Thielen gets 11 and a first down, and Spielman in his 7th year. Zimmer in year number 5 were sitting on that bench talking for quite a while before today's game. coming up on the 2-minute warning. Should be against the defense. Free play. Dalvin Cook over the middle to midfield. Ball is out, and it ends up out of bounds. Knocked out, but out of bounds, and we're at 1:58. A flag down. Looked like a free play with an offside on the defense. E.A. Buniwe knocked it out. There have been no turnovers in this game. And the call is clearly against Chicago.
Offside. Defense lined up in the neutral zone, number 49. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay first down. And this is the 2-minute warning.
Kylie Fitz came across early. 1:58 left, no timeouts, down by 14. They need a quick score and an onside kick back after this. It's been a frustrating, disappointing day for the Vikings offensively. Just 145 yards. They have a first down here, 1st and 5 with the ball at their own 48. Against the second-string defense of the Bears, and Cousins able to find Diggs. Diggs is back over 1,000 yards officially, and he's got a first down and more inside the 35, and this game is not over. They need a touchdown and an onside kick coming into week 17. There have been 4 successful onside kick conversions in 50 tries, but that's for later. And this one is against Chicago.
I think they got Isaiah Irving, who had free access to Cousins, so they shut it down.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 47. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
You got some backup players trying to make a play here. And Irving came across too soon to bring up 1st and 5 again. So now the ball's at the 29. With 1:29 left, no timeouts for either side. Cousins is sacked again. Irving got in there first. A crushing sack, a loss of 10, and the clock continues to wind. Nichols got in there second.
Well, they got him last time for the penalty, and this time Irving gets a clean jump. He beats Riley Reef, and here they come. Yeah, costly penalty for a lot of reasons, mostly being that the clock continues.
Pass is caught. That's the bad news.
That shouldn't have been caught.
That's Diggs, and that keeps the clock winding. And only was a gain of 5. With the ball just inside the 35, it's 3rd and 10. Cousins, Treadwell, short of first down yardage. Clock continues to wind as Tolliver makes a strong tackle to keep Treadwell in bounds.
That's a really good job by the undrafted rookie out of LSU, making a play in the open field, keeping him in bounds.
Blitz coming. Vikings pick it up. Cousins heaves to the end zone on 4th down. There are no flags as Zylstra comes down empty-handed, and this game is over with 17 seconds left.
Well, it's been a long time that there's been a postseason game in Chicago. We're looking forward to it if that's the game that we're on, and I know there's a lot of energy in that town right now, knowing that the Bears are in the postseason and anything can happen. I think you look at this team, and I know in visiting with Matt Nagy when he took over, and offensively, it's still continuing to kind of be a work in progress and figure out exactly what everybody can do, and they're learning this new system and the things that he likes and the things that Mitch Trubisky likes. This is a big game and a great game for them with nothing really at stake, but to come out of this and build even more momentum than they already had. That's a nice job by this Bears team.
What a year for Matt Nagy and the entire organization with Ryan Pace who took over in 2015. They win the division. They get to 12 wins. They're the number 3 seed. They'll host Philly. You wonder who their quarterback will be next week. Foles, Sudfeld, or Carson Wentz. All 3 are on the board, especially after the injury suffered by Foles in the game at Washington. Mitch Trubisky, what a second season. And this Bears defense, the best in the league. Frustration and questions for Kirk Cousins. Let's go to Seattle. Bonus coverage coming up.